So Thahir, I was scrolling through LinkedIn yesterday and I swear I read the same kind of post probably 5 or 6 times. These were different people, but the same kind of opening. Like every sentence would start off with "We thought X, but it's actually Y." These kind of format,
Hmm.
and you would already know this. It's all AI stuff,
Yeah,
100% of it,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can tell right from the first sentence itself.
Correct. And
Yeah.
it appears as if almost all the LinkedIn posts are now AI generated. Blogs aren't much better. Even, for a fact, at times when we are working with creators and, watching other creators, a lot of their content, I mean, in the videos, the script feels that it doesn't has that emotions or that kind of creative storytelling, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know where we are heading,
True.
but let's talk about it and let's figure out in this particular podcast how do we really leverage AI to create creative, good storytelling posts. It could be different formats: blogs, LinkedIn posts, YouTube videos, whatever, right?
Sure. Yeah. I
So
bet this is
let's
going to be very much interesting.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
welcome again. Welcome to the GrowthOS podcast. I'm Pritesh, and we are tackling the thing that has been bothering us for months, which is the great AI slop flood. So, with us today, we have Tahir Batriwala, the organic growth lead at GrowthOS. Tahir has been working very actively on content front, doing content for a bunch of companies into different niches, and across different formats. So we'll be discussing all things content today in this podcast of GrowthOS. And let me give you some context, right? For like most of the English language posts now that we see on LinkedIn, or let's just say it's AI generated. That number has spiked when ChatGPT launched. On Google, we have seen AI generated content in top 10 results and videos. Platforms are flooded with scripts that sound technically correct but are emotionally dead, like I mentioned earlier, right? The issue isn't just AI itself. I do it for, I mean, I use it AI for many of the tasks that I do. The issue is that most people are using to create low efforts generic content, what we are calling slop, right? And when the slop becomes the norm, the entire ecosystem suffers, right?
Yeah. So, Pritesh, first of all, thank you for having me. And it is a pretty much exciting topic to talk about. What I'm seeing now is platforms like LinkedIn, Google, and YouTube are actively noticing such kind of AI slop, and they are actively punishing that. So
Mm-hmm.
Google is identifying thin content across several thousands and millions of websites. Even YouTube is also deprioritizing videos with low retention. So I think we are into this reversal phase where platforms are again starting to reward original human generated content.
Exactly. So today, Tahir and I will be breaking down what's exactly happening with AI content across blogs, across LinkedIn, across videos, and more importantly, we're going to show you exactly how to use AI so that it doesn't sound like slop, right?
Yeah,
So let's get into it.
sure.
First things first, Tahir, let's start with LinkedIn. It's a space or it's a platform where this problem is visible the most, right? And I believe that you have been tracking LinkedIn content, LinkedIn posts for a couple of months, right?
Yeah. So yeah, so earlier what I used to do is scroll LinkedIn and expected to genuinely learn something out of that, right? But
Yeah.
now it's the same post over and over. So people are just like, "Ki more SEO is dead. Most creators are telling you this. It's X, but it's not Y." And this is a repeated pattern that we are seeing across 99% of posts, right?
Fair enough.
And I'll also show you one example so you can tell that these all posts are totally artificial.
But why so?
You see that there is a pattern that AI loves. There is this dramatic reversal. It's not X, but it's Y. Then there is kind of contradiction, M dashes, emoji overload. and looks like that every post is written by the same corporate robot.
Sure. And you know what bothers me is that people think they are being clever by using AI. But in reality, they are actually playing with their, or literally destroying their credibility, right? Because
Yeah.
once you've seen the pattern, you can't unsee it. So every time I read one of these posts, I immediately think and conclude that, this guy hasn't written this post. It's
Yeah.
most probably some of their interns or someone, maybe an AI itself.
Yeah. So let me guess, you just scroll past it without thinking a second
Of
further,
course,
right?
of
Yeah.
course, 100%.
Yeah. So let me tell you some fun facts here. AI generated posts, I mean, like LinkedIn posts, get about 45% less engagement than the original posts. So people as well as platforms are now able to figure out that this is just AI slop and nothing else.
Crazy. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like fighting two battles, right? Even the audience doesn't like and doesn't trust the content, and the algorithm is also working against you.
Yes, exactly.
Correct. And if I were to ask you, I mean, why are people still doing it if it's performing bad?
Because they are not realizing that, they just seeing that okay, this is a short term win. Hey, I published just 5 posts this week instead of one, but they are
Hmm.
not tracking engagement over time. So let's say they just published maybe, let's say, 5 or 6 posts. They created those 5 or 6 posts in a batch using some kind of AI tool. They had scheduled it, but they are forgetting to track the engagement, like whether the people are even finding those posts interesting or valuable. And over the period of time, these posts just die in the feed.
Fair enough. But do you think it's also a problem caused because these social platforms, have integrated AI um, into their platform, right? Twitter would have Grok, LinkedIn
Yes.
would have some artificially created features to create, I mean, artificial content like that.
Yeah, so actually, premium users can use that rewrite with AI feature to make their posts look more professional or more polished. But in the end, they eventually end up making that original content worse, right?
Hmm.
Because that was your original thought, and now AI just regurgitates or finds some kind of information, plug in some kind of punchy sentences, and voila, you think okay, this post looks so nice. But if
Yeah,
you actually read that, it doesn't make any sense.
correct. That makes sense. So, okay, let's conclude. LinkedIn is a mess right now. What about
Ah,
vlogs?
yeah.
Because I'm assuming it must be a bit different there.
Yeah, it is different, but the core problems remains the same. So
Okay.
in case of Google, it does not penalize the AI content outright, but they have set certain standards, right? So if you know on the internet, you most of the AI blogs are very low quality, and what happens is Google has been actively deprioritizing, or even I have seen that entire sites getting de-indexed just because the website has so many AI fluff that is actually no value, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, and so here what Google does is, Google has this concept that we discussed earlier in our first podcast, that was eat, right? So if your post has original some kind of inputs from subject matter experts, you are bringing in real insights from credible sources, then your blog post is likely to be shown higher up in the SERPs. But otherwise, if it is just plain AI garbage, then Google will definitely not rank.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I've seen this personally. I've seen this happen once where I know a founder who thought he'd hack the content or the blogs. So he published 500 of those AI generated blog posts, and it did see a spike in the traffic, right? For about 5 to 6 weeks, but then Google caught up and he lost almost everything. Like 80-90% of his traffic was lost overnight.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's because Google consider it as a scaled content abuse. So let me tell you that in March 2024, Google launched an update to find this kind of AI, content flood, and they specifically targeted the sites where they used to create so many pages primarily just to manipulate the rankings. And this is like, by launching this kind of update, Google reduced the appearance of low quality content in searches about 45%.
45%.
Yeah,
That's, I mean, that
45%.
must be huge, right?
It is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, my question would be, if AI generated content still ends up in the top 10, right?
Hmm.
Does that mean it's still working or it'll work?
Mm, so here there are two scenarios. First of all, if the AI generated content, and I mean to say 80 or 90% AI generated content with very few level of edits made, so it is going to rank in short term. But if you have used AI to write your first draft and then apply the layer of human fact checking, editing, so that content is going to rank and stay for longer term because it is actually not raw AI output.
Got it. So, it needs to be a bit of an hybrid approach, right?
Yeah, exactly. The hybrid approach, and which we'll get into. But let me just briefly talk about the third aspect, that is YouTube videos, right? Video scripts are now a huge part of content strategy, and the problem manifests there differently.
Okay. Let's break it down. What's exactly happening with AI generated video scripts?
So, what happens is whenever you use AI to write a script, it is not emotionally rich. It is kind of a flat, mediocre monologue that nobody would like to listen to, right? AI can certainly give you the intro, then the middle or the body of the script, and the conclusion or the outro, right? It can organize your points, but it cannot create these spontaneous moments that that people can attach to or make people feel something.
Fair enough. I mean, if I were to put it in an example, um, you know, like if I were to create a video on how do I become more productive, an AI generated output script output would look like, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about productivity. But once I am into the picture, or rather a human is writing that content, he would maybe start off with his own personal experience, right?
True.
It was maybe probably 2 weeks that I felt super low and I was not able to figure out a solution, or I mean, was not able to do as much as I generally do. And
Hmm.
that's where the human vulnerability also kicks in, right? You are being emotional, you show the vulnerable side, the human side of yours, which an AI definitely cannot do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we are seeing this kind of pattern with the top creators, right? Like take Ali Abdal for example. He
Sure.
generally brings in his personal experiences, what kind of day-to-day activities he's involved in, the problems or challenges he faced. He has shared his journey. So
Hmm.
that kind of content, and the one that some other rookie creator is using AI to create scripts, so
Yeah.
there is a huge difference in terms of quality. You will certainly find Ali Abdal's videos more interesting, more appealing, rather than that video where this it is has been created by using AI script totally.
Sure. So let's just say, AI fails at creating spontaneous and authentic content.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. There it fails there. Exactly.
Hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. So across all three formats, LinkedIn, blogs, and videos, the pattern is the same. AI can help you create content faster, but it's not helping you add that human element,
Hmm.
which will actually be hurting your overall brand, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So let's move on. I don't think the answer to this particular I mean, whatever we have talked about is to stop using AI, right? Because I am certainly using AI in a lot of different tasks, and it's super helpful. And I know a bunch of people, like even top creators and top brands, using AI to, eventually solve for their bigger vision in their day-to-day tasks, in getting something which is not possible at a human level. So
Hmm.
let's figure out the other side. How do we start using AI so that it doesn't sound slop first, and and it eventually helps to create really good content.
Hmm. Yeah. So let me just share you one framework that works for most of the creators you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and even the marketers who are involved in day-to-day content production. So I am sure you must have heard about the 80-20 rule, right? The Pareto principle.
Yeah.
And for this kind of hybrid approach, we can utilize that principle as well. Right. So what happens is 80% of the tasks, and I'm talking about the laborious tasks that
Mm-hmm.
you need to do research. Let's say you are writing some kind of white paper, and you would need to scroll through tons and tons of different articles, statistics, reports, and everything. AI helps you do all that kind of heavy lifting. You just need to enter a couple of prompts, and you just get all of the data points at one click, right? Similarly, when we create outlines for, let's say, blogs or maybe YouTube video scripts as well, AI helps in that. And it also helps in fine tuning the aspects. So I have the draft ready, and I'll just ask AI like what kind of things that I can improvise on, or what kind of other examples I can add it to make the content look more effective and engaging.
Mm-hmm.
And where human roles come in is into 20% of the critical task. So it will be bringing original thoughts. uh, I know I need to write a blog article or I need to create a video, but the idea should be coming from your experience or your learnings, right? And certainly, AI can't come up with the ideas which would be feasible. It may sound fancy, but it won't look feasible, and it won't look relatable also, right? The second aspect is to do fact checking, obviously. So we know that AI hallucinates a lot. So here a manual layer is much more needed. Then there is to add the emotional depth, and which is very critical for YouTube scripts, and bring in unique insights. So maybe it could be my insights, first hand experience, or I could approach subject matter experts to bring in their insights, right? And this is how the hybrid approach should work.
Understood. But let's get
Yeah.
specific, because I think when people hear hybrid approach, they don't actually know what it means in practice. So
Yeah.
let's break it down by format, right?
Yeah, sure. So let me start by explaining about how you can create blogs, right? You can use AI to do your research and prepare the outline. Also, you can use it to create the first draft, but here it will help you mostly in creating tofu level content. So, which is common knowledge, right? But for some kind of insightful PCs, you need to write first draft yourself, right? Where subject matter expertise is required. And AI can also help you to organize your thoughts. So let's say I have different thoughts or different ideas, different kind of inspirations. For example, let's say I'm writing an article about content strategy, right? So content strategy, some of the things are common across every domain, but if I were to write content strategy for SaaS, then I would have LinkedIn posts, maybe Medium article or a Substack newsletter that has given about what how they are using content distribution for SaaS, some kind of case study that they have prepared. So all of the things I have it with me, and AI helps to organize those thoughts, and that probably saves me 2 or 3 hours at least.
Sure. So 80% work that AI does is around the research, is around the draft, right? Is
Yeah,
around the structure. But
yeah.
20% is something which you put up. Those are the original, authentic thoughts,
Authentic
right?
thoughts, yes. So
And
those, that 20% would include, maybe rewriting the intro. I would find relevant examples or case studies uh, from other sources that I found, right? Then I can also add certain data points which are very relevant. And also the final check is to make sure that the article aligns with the brand's voice. So yeah, so that is the where 20% effort is required from the human side.
fair enough. And that 20% is what Google also cares about, because
Yeah.
Google would now easily identify content that lacks human insights, which lacks personal experiences, right? And I think if your blog is just AI regurgitating existing information, it won't perform in the longer term.
Hmm. Hmm.
What
Yeah.
about LinkedIn?
Yeah. So LinkedIn helps you. For LinkedIn, you can use AI to create the structure, or maybe let's say you have a post that you have written by yourself, but you think that this post is, there is some kind of spark missing. Like, how can I make this post more engaging? Probably you can take your AI's help to rewrite the hooks, or writing the CTA part, where emotional, so where you are just you have hit a wall and you are not getting ideas, so you can use AI's help there. But to make your post unique from already than what 99% people out there are creating, you need to add anecdotes or contrarian views, and probably actual stories. So let's say you just met a founder and you learned a couple of things there. You can create a LinkedIn post and you can add those kind of learnings. So this makes for 100% original post.
Yeah, and I use this hack where, and I do this all the time. If I have a AI draft, let's say about content strategy topic, it'll give me the generic structure. What I'll do is I'll delete the first two paragraphs and rewrite it based on a certain story. Something like
Hmm.
this, right? We spent $40,000 on content last quarter but got zero pipeline. This
Hmm.
hook line, supported with a real story of my personal experience, would bring in so much of attention and so much of appeal to the readers that it's that eventually it'll perform better, right?
Yeah, and also it will naturally bypass the AI detectors of LinkedIn, because it is not slop, and you are not using the formula that we thought it was X and it was Y, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. And how
Hmm.
about video scripts?
Again, the same kind of use that we did for blogs, it can help you to create structure, but you need humans to add whatever the kind of emotions that you want to put into. Maybe you can make it, add a bit light sense of humor, or maybe probably even sense of seriousness, right? You can bring that spontaneity, and also you can give real examples in your scripts.
Correct. And I've seen this, creators using AI to, write entire scripts at once, but it will technically sound right. I mean, it will have that hook, it will have the intro, body, conclusion, all of that. But
Hmm.
when you read it out loud, it feels robotic. There are no pauses, no emphasis, no moments where I could riff off or, add certain personality to the script.
Yeah, because AI can't certainly do that, right?
Hmm.
And this is why humans still keep their jobs.
Fair enough, fair enough. And that's how I think you will also win at the retention game. When it comes to YouTube specifically, you would want the
Yes.
viewers to, watch the entire video or maximum part of it.
True.
And
Retention
um,
is very critical in terms of YouTube growth.
Correct.
So
And
if people are not finding your videos interesting, YouTube algorithm won't be suggesting that to other watchers or viewers.
correct. And you know what? One interesting thing is the algorithm has been updated in a way that it now doesn't focus on one single video, right? I
Okay.
mean, watch time of one single video. So apart from that, it has evolved in a way that it measures how much of that video was watched,
Hmm.
and if the viewer actually clicked on some other video on your channel. So it's the entire session time than watch time.
Oh, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
thought it was just about views, likes, number of subscribers. But this is
No,
interesting to know.
it's becoming more nuanced because
Hmm.
likes and certainly watch time and comments are also being, yeah, misused or right.
Yeah, those metrics can be manipulated exactly, but you
Mhm.
cannot manipulate some aspects which are just which really translate into a good quality content.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that is what brings me to the point that the market is becoming very competitive, and you definitely cannot afford to put out mediocre content, right? So
Absolutely not.
let's
No.
talk about platforms now. There are some strict guardrails for AI. I
Hmm.
think that is where things keep getting interesting because the
Yeah.
rules are changing fast and people aren't noticing that.
Hmm.
Out of which I feel LinkedIn is the most aggressive platform, which is changing its algorithm, changing the way how content is being done there, and they
Oh.
can definitely detect AI generated content. The last time I had read somewhere, it was with 94% accuracy that LinkedIn identifies AI content.
Wow.
So it's it's doing it pretty well. It's doing its job pretty well,
Yeah.
and
And
when
it
it
is certainly going to reduce the reach. No, if LinkedIn deprioritize your content, and then people complain that our reach is decreased. But you just see like what kind of content you are putting out. Maybe it could be a rage bait, it could be a plain AI generated fluff, and
correct.
people are just not finding it valuable. So why should the platform push it?
And it's doing that. I mean, for the content which is detected as AI, the reach
Hmm.
of it is reduced by almost 30%.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if you ask me how are they really detecting it, it's simple. It's pattern recognition, right? They are looking at posts with uniform sentence structures, specific phrases that AI loves, right?
Hmm.
Those words like delve, tapestry, landscape, and
Yeah.
complex words like, right, which people won't generally use in their sentences when they're
Hmm.
talking.
Hmm.
There are
And
emoji patterns.
when I read such kind of words, it becomes very obvious that it is AI slop.
Correct. It doesn't have that substance. It will sound fluff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because AI, it all depend because AI is also trained into something, right? And what AI does is it gathers all of the common knowledge what that is there available on the internet, and by default, the kind of settings it has, it will just regurgitate all of the information. So what you
Mhm.
will see is if I use AI to write a blog, and if other you use the AI to write the blog, I'm damn sure that it will be 99% similar.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
because it is a robot trained on some information, right? It is bound to do the task it is supposed to do.
correct.
Yeah.
And
But
this
if I were to write the intro myself and you were to write intro yourself, both would be totally different.
correct. And I believe like the algorithms would definitely punish people who are putting out such sort of content. And for that matter,
Hmm.
even Google would, right? Google would
Google
also
does.
do a
Yes.
complete war against this AI content. We have seen sites getting de-indexed also.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, Tahir, what's your prediction for 2026? Where is the AI generated content going?
Hmm. Um, so in 2025, we have seen a massive backlash against AI content. People actively calling out that this is AI slop. And even if the comments are also generated AI, we have seen a flood of AI generated comments on LinkedIn, and people also call them out, right? And
Mhm.
this backlash is going to get more intense. And what will happen is people, and I'm talking about serious consumers here, people who understand uh, what makes for a good content and what is AI slop, right? They are going to crave that authentic human content again, right? Because AI is too good at creating generic stuff. It will give you that smooth, polished, sounding too perfect kind of content. But humans crave kind of imperfect, has some kind of surprise element to that, and the rawness that only a person can bring. No AI can do that, right? So yeah, and brands have also started to lean into that. They are now showing their human side, even if it is little messy, but yeah, it is going to stand out.
Correct. I love that because the irony is that AI is forcing us to become more human.
Yeah, totally agree. And better AI gets at mimicking human writing, the more we need to emphasize what actually makes us human. It
Mhm.
could be stories, it could be failures, raw unorganized thoughts which are bit messy, and real experiences. So I think this is our competitive advantage. So if we lean into it, we will definitely win.
Understood. All right. So here I have my notes from this discussion that we've had so far. And if you're still listening to this, here's something what you should actually be doing. And this is our kind of advice. So first, what you can do is you can audit your channel. You can audit your content, right? Look at the last 10 LinkedIn posts. Look at the last 5 blog articles or the last 3 video scripts that you've written, and for each one ask if this feels AI swap or does this feel human. Be brutally honest. So if you can't tell the difference, your audience probably can't either, which means you are in trouble.
Yeah. So let me ask you, where should they look specifically?
They can look at the generic language, the phrases that sound like they came from some kind of a template which is being used by thousands of other creators out there. It can
Okay.
have lack of specificity, all generic stuff, basic advices, nothing
Hmm.
too personal or nothing too unique of a data point or insight, right? If
Agree.
your content could apply to anyone or anywhere, it's slop.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
And secondly, again, from the discussions that we've had, implement the 80/20 rule, which is where you let AI do the heavy lifting, let it write the outline, the first drafts, research, but reserve the 20% of your efforts that only human can do,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So for blogs, that's like adding case studies, personal stories, original data. For LinkedIn, that could be personal stories and contrarian takes. And for videos, it could be the personality, the humor, and the spontaneity.
Hmm. Okay. Well noted. And what's the third thing?
Third would be to add unique value to each and every piece. And this is non negotiable. Like
Hmm.
every blog post, every LinkedIn post, and every video should have at least one thing that's uniquely yours. A data point, maybe from your own research, a story from your experience, an opinion that challenges the conventional wisdom. Something which no one else should have that prior knowledge. So that's the novelty which you create,
Hmm. Hmm,
right?
hmm.
And if you can't add that unique element, I don't think you should publish. You just
Hmm.
need to stop and rethink your content.
Yeah. And I think the fourth aspect would be to measure how your content is actually performing, if I'm not wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. You definitely ruined the suspense because that's what we do at the end, right? If we're
Hmm.
doing something, we definitely would want to measure how it's performing, how it's being loved or being disliked by people. So we have to track the engagement, the rankings, retention. So it's different for different platforms, of course. There's no
Hmm.
single metric that is generalized around across all platforms.
Okay.
So if your LinkedIn engagement is dropping, your content is probably slipping into a slop territory. And if your blog traffic is not picking up, Google might be deprioritizing you.
Hmm.
It's similar, like it would be retention and session watch time when it comes to YouTube, right? So
Okay.
pay attention to the data. It'll tell you exactly what's been happening,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
True.
real story.
And there is a saying. So you can't improve what you can't measure. So tracking is really, really crucial here. Right. Okay, Pritesh. So I have one last question for someone who is just starting out, and wants to use this hybrid approach. Where should they begin?
So let's start with LinkedIn because that's the easiest place to test. So
Hmm.
you can use AI to draft a post, then completely rewrite the opening, add a contrarian thought in the middle, and add a specific CTA which you would want, the action that you would want people to take.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. And I think people would want to compare how this hybrid approach is working out for them in contrast to what they used to publish with pure
mhm,
AI, right? I think, and I bet you will see a difference within a week.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
And
LinkedIn is where real people are connected. You get faster feedbacks, maybe from your friends, your own connections, etc.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay. And I think what we discussed from earlier, for the blogs, we can take that approach where we can use AI to no and to measure that your top 5 posts, the ones that are driving most traffic, then use AI to expand them, add certain sections or maybe update data points. And you need to make sure that you are adding original insights, right? It could be new case studies or SME quotes and personal anecdotes. And you certainly don't want AI to regurgitate information what is already out there, right? We need to make it
Absolutely.
better.
Mhm.
Yeah. So my final question here is, can AI generated content still win in 2026, or is it already dead?
Okay, people would hate me for saying this because people are frustrated with AI content. But let me tell you,
Hmm.
AI generated content is not dead.
Oh.
But lazy AI generated content is definitely gonna die.
Hmm.
So if
Okay.
you are willing to put in the work, if you are willing to strategically use AI, add human value, maintain the quality, you can absolutely win. In fact,
Hmm.
you'll have an advantage because you're going to be much faster than people doing everything manually. So
Okay.
if you are,
Yeah.
busy just pressing a button and publishing whatever comes, you are done. The platform will bury you, and your audience will definitely ignore.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'm guessing then the war is actually not AI versus human, but it is quality versus AI slop, if I'm
Exactly,
not wrong. Yeah.
exactly, and that's where
Okay.
quality wins. It
Hmm.
because it takes more effort.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. It was a great conversation with you, Tahir. Again, I think we discussed a lot of things here, and I'm sure that the viewers would also love it.
Yeah, I believe yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's make it a wrap and catch you next time. Till then, go create something that doesn't suck. Right. Thank you for watching. And if you love this podcast, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and we have more exciting topics around content, around YouTube, around whatnot. So keep, subscribe to us and keep watching us. Show some love. Thank you.